How is this? Is the audio working? Let me see. Should be working. Okay, thanks guys. Okay. So, we're gonna do some Q&A. We have some fun things to give away as well on this live, but any questions you have, put them in the chat. I'll be answering questions from the chat as well. All right. So, the first question someone has is, I'm having difficulty gaining traction on a different version of a product that sells well in my shop. They have great reviews, star seller, and they're wondering, is it the SEO, pictures, or price, or all of it? They added a Tumblr version, not gaining traction. Any tips or mistakes you see that you can help? And you're building out your product mix with other items outside print on demand. Let's take a look at the situation. Okay, so we have that, and we have this. Okay. All right. Just looking at your SEO, so you have there we go. I'm seeing a lot of, updates that could be made with your SEO. For example, plurals are not needed. You have autism dad. You don't need that twice, so we don't wanna repeat our short tail keywords. Okay. A couple things that I'd be thinking about is value proposition. So, even just thinking about the customer, right now, this is most likely going to be a gift for a dad, and we're looking at a price point of $37. Whereas with the tumbler, we're looking at a price point of $30. Now, when we look at who is gifting this, right? Autism dad, it's most likely going to be the spouse or like the mom, like the person's mom. Not necessarily like a man's friends, right? And this is specifically for men. So I would look at, okay, what is someone most likely to buy for their spouse? I think in general, apparel is going to be more popular than another tumbler, right? Because if you're thinking about who is buying it, it's most likely someone who lives in the house and they're thinking, do we need really another tumbler? So I would say this is definitely probably going to be just twice as popular due to the type of product and the specific customer buying it for this recipient. I would say would most likely be twice as popular. The design is also a good graphic for a sweatshirt for apparel. I do think it could you could definitely get into more of the back print with this, and also maybe have another listing showing the back print as this option. So that would be one thing I would do. I just think that a Tumblr in general is not gonna be as popular for men. Um, I don't think you have to have laser engraved. Engraved alone is just enough here with our SEO. Gift idea, birthday idea, Father Day gift. What other situations would this be given outside of just Father's Day, and birthday? I would think about other gifting situations throughout the year. I think there's friction in your purchasing process here, a lot of decisions. So with your question, yeah, I would say the value proposition just is not as strong. The combination of your listing photo and your price point, it's not as strong as the other one. Let's take a look at your shop in general. Okay. I think so you only have 14 listings. Out of those 63 sales, we're not seeing a huge variety in sales across your listings. It looks like definitely maybe even less than 20% are, um, 20% of your listings are selling, which just means you have some dead listings in here that are hurting your conversion rate. So I would take a look at really evaluating, curating your listing count a little bit more, but then adding in new. So more, better, new. 7 types of products framework would be so helpful for you. And really the price points were like 19 to 40, 18 to 40, 18 to 37 is pretty narrow window. So we want to be thinking about lifetime value of the customer and how to get our average order value up. Okay. So those are the 2 things I'd be focusing on, LTV and AOV. All right. How do we prep for Etsy's slow summer? I definitely don't think it needs to be a slow summer. Some of our sellers, their best months are the summer. So don't the first step to prep for that is to decide it's not going to be a slow summer, and it's really to curate your product mix and expand your product mix in a way that will prevent it from being a slow summer. If Etsy is historically low for you in the summer, you don't want to have the same product mix and the same strategies going into this summer, because with just the way the economy is, it means it would probably be a little bit lower even than last year. So I would say that the first way to prep is to do it differently this time and to not rely on what you did last year. And just to realize that summer is some people's strongest months. Like for me, right, I was primarily wedding and baby, and those were some of my strongest months, hands down. So it's really about thinking about which customer is coming to Etsy more in the summer and the spring. And then we're thinking, back to school and Q4 prep by August. So yeah, I would say this is the time to plan your product mix, so that it's not a slow summer. And there's plenty of profitable customers coming to Etsy in the summer. You can have your best months in the summer if you plan it out that way. Okay. We had some questions come through Instagram. Okay. If you have any questions in the chat, feel free to put those there. Oh, shoot. Let's see here. I do not see the Instagram post. Here we are. Okay. Let's see. Should this person honestlygiftedco.etsy.com. Let's pull up your shop. Okay. Also, before I forget, I want to give you guys a couple things. We have our virtual Etsy summit happening. If you want access, this will be very soon. You can just click on that to get access and to learn more about it. And then we have a free SEO listing, which is our software. So we'll give you that. In this software, I can show you how it works, but you can run your listing through it. You just upload a photo and it will give you a fully optimized listing that you can just put into your shop. And then we also have on the same tool for President's Day, we are extending that and it's 47% off, 47 plus listings. So if you have more than 47 listings in your shop, or you think you will, go ahead and click on that and you can get the 47% discount for those optimized listings. All right, let's take a look at this person's shop. Honestly, Gifted Co. was the name. Okay, here we go. All right. So I would say we have a lot going on in the thumbnails that I think could be a distraction. And we wanna be updating some of our background photos. So photos, I would say, is a big, big thing to work on. For some of these, I think you're like 80% there. Um, some of them I would recommend putting a little bit more effort into. And what I would do when you're looking at how to visually merchandise your items when you're doing your own photos and you're not doing mock-ups is really following social media content trends a little bit more than just product photography on websites. And the reason for that is because Etsy is a marketplace that you as essentially like a boutique lives in. So you want to communicate some of your branding, and that's part of your value proposition in your thumbnail photo. So it's not like the Amazon style, and that's a huge benefit to Etsy, right? Versus Amazon's requirements for photos. So it's a huge benefit to Etsy that you can elevate it in certain ways, and you can stylize your photos in ways that can give you a competitive advantage. So I would say look at social media for certain brands. Like for you, you have a lot of Tumblr, so Bando might be a good brand to look at. I don't know if you guys know Bando, but we want to look for, here we go, Shop Bando, right? We want to look for some ideas for how to style product photos. And I would keep scrolling because you're gonna get basically different collections and seasons of their products. So, like, now we're in their Christmas. I wanna know how they were styling their photos last summer, though. Same thing for Anthropologie. I'd actually do the same for Urban Outfitters, but you will get some unique ideas here. Okay. Yeah, so I would say we need to work on the photos a bit more, and design as well is probably an area that with print on demand, you're gonna wanna focus more on. A lot of what we're seeing here is really difficult to read on mobile, and unless you have a print on demand design that's really working well for you, it's this print on demand is not something where you wanna take like one one design and just like slap it on a bunch of products or like duplicate the listing a bunch of times unless we have proof of concept. The proof of concept doesn't necessarily need to be in sales. It could be through customer feedback on another platform, but we want to know that people like the design before we go and put it on a bunch of things. Otherwise, you're just like blatantly crushing your conversion rate by doing that. So always proof of concept before uh, spreading it like wildfire in your shop on the design level. Okay. So yeah, just some recommended tw tweaks and tips there. Um, ultimately, I don't know what your financial goals for the shop are, but it looks like we're pretty heavy on loss leaders, and we're missing some things that would increase the lifetime value of the customer and drive up your average order value. So, um, at this point, 983 sales, we wanna be a little more focused on that because it will make it more scalable. Okay, let's see. Oh, more back to Instagram. Here we go. How do we find top trends for 2026 if we want to start an Etsy shop today? Well, if you are really looking for 2026 right now, um, like the very first places that we're gonna see some of these, I would say culture is one, but trends, that stem from culture tend to happen, like, a little bit faster. So, like, Wicked is an example, right? Wicked, the movie Wicked and the best friend trend, but for 2026, I would actually look to the most premium brands that are, completely out of reach for the average person because that's where the trends will start and then trickle down. And, we're looking at Fashion Week as an example for things that will be really hitting summer, but then bleeding into next Q4 next year. So because trends, really start with a base of people that you might feel like I don't align with them. They're like way too forward. Uh, then they trickle down. And it's kind of like how in America, right? We see trends on the coasts, then they bleed in to middle America. So um, it's definitely going to be a peak. So you can spot trends before they even start increasing by paying attention to those places and those brands. I remember when I was in college, I got to go to London Fashion Week on an assignment for publication I was with. So I was like press at the fashion week, and I was so intimidated because I was there by myself and I had, no idea what to look for, what to do, what could I take pictures of? And I was like 20, I was 20 years old. Really cool experience, but it was eye-opening because from an outsider where you're looking at kind of the mass market shops, um, it's felt like some of these trends, they were just so far ahead. Like, these trends wouldn't be hitting middle America for a year, most likely. So those are the places to look. All right, let's take a look. Any other questions? Shop views and sales drop when I travel to South America. Does Etsy show listings based on location? So Etsy does state in their kind of traffic area of their policies where they talk about, okay, how to rank higher, that your location will be prioritized for other people in that location. So your listings will be prioritized for other people in your current location. And I'm curious if you're changing your shop location when you travel, because I know this person travels for like uh, a very long periods of time, I think like months potentially. So are you changing the shop location or is it just your IP address that would be changing? One thing you could try doing is having a VPN next time you travel if you're not actually changing the shop location. Okay, we've got some questions in the chat. Let's pull some questions up. Is anyone actually making money on Etsy? Yes. Yes, we are. This person sells products locally. Is getting into Etsy worth it? Yes, unless you feel like you are completely surrounded by extremely profitable customers locally, then I would definitely consider Etsy. Super low barrier to entry. Let's see here. This is a good question. New print on demand seller up for about a month. Should you focus right now on getting more quality listings up due to being new? You definitely don't want to go quantity over quality because what you'll do is just tank your conversion rate, which gives you a negative shop quality score pretty quickly. So this is not the time to go like, oh, I just need 1,000 listings and then I'll get traction. Doing more of what's not working doesn't make it work. So quality, 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 variety of long tail keywords is what I'd focus on. Here we go. I have almost 60 listings and I am working and having sales on only 2 of them. How can I increase the SEO on the others? So I'm curious what the 2 listings are. I just have so many questions. I would take a look at what these 2 listings are, what people are typing in to find these listings. What is the price point of the listings? What type of photos and video are you including in these listings? Do you ever get any questions on the listing? Do people ever ask for customization? And when you're looking at the 2 that are working, right, that is an incredibly small percentage. I would say more, better, new, which is Alex Hormozzi's big framework that they focus on within acquisition.com, and it is focusing on doing more of what's working, right? Only not new, um, more of what's working. How can we then make it better, and then how can we create new? But only after exhausting more and then exhausting better. So, is the rest of your product mix like wildly different for a different customer, or Um, you're getting traction on 2 things. Now, let me explain the difference between this advice and then the person who has a new print on demand shop. Where'd she go? I don't know where that was, but she had a new print on demand shop only up for about a month. So I am guessing that she doesn't have a lot getting traction right now, which is why we need the variety of long tail keywords. Because if we don't have data on what to do more of, right, we're starting with testing the market and testing these long tail keywords and seeing which customers we can get traction with. Once the Danielle here has traction and has momentum, then we hyper focus on that feedback and implement more, better, new. And even before you have sales, you can implement more, better, new based on traffic patterns. Okay. Let's see. Kyle, does it take time before a brand new listing starts to gain traction? When you post a listing, you don't get much traction for the first few weeks. I would say you can do some things to kind of force some traction, in terms of driving hot I call them hot leads, right? Customers who are ready to buy, primed to buy, and their buying mentality. You can drive those customers to your listing and get traction much faster if you're just posting it and letting it sit. Um, I would say that's a very passive way to approach Etsy. So what I would be doing is implementing what I call the sprint on that listing to get momentum faster. We have more control than we think we do. I think sometimes people think I'm just creating these listings and I'm hoping someone's going to find me. They're like, I'm waiting for someone to find my shop. Okay, we can put in some sweat equity here and roll our sleeves up. Okay, let's see. So let me give you one more time, the free Etsy listing, we do have that available for you. If you haven't tried it out yet, you just go to Etsy.com. You can actually click this in the chat and it will give you a fully optimized listing to put into your shop. And then you can see we have the 47% off sale right here if you want to get all of your listings done. Cool. Awesome, guys. Okay. All right. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, as always, feel free to schedule a free call with us. We can give you a free demo of what our program looks like. We usually just have 2 days open, but we did open up a third day. Awesome, guys. And this is really for people who do, whether you're just starting out, up to 8 million per year. That's kind of the range of our sellers, from just being a solopreneur to having 50 employees. So anywhere in between, we have things that are customized just for you. Awesome, guys. All right. I will see you next week.